Speaking more about city life.
关注房子，关注城市，更关注生活。
I will see you every Wednesday night.
国际生活家直播采访秀 Vivian Speaking， 每周3晚7点半，不见不散。
Good evening, this is Vivian speaking, and it's Wednesday again. Tonight, our topic is enlightening the soul in the name of love. So we're gonna talk about love tonight, and it's my great honor to have Yvonne with us for the next 45 minutes. And she is a primary principal of TIS TIDA. And so welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you very much, Vivian. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you. And before we started, let's move to Suri, and she's gonna do the Chinese part tonight.
Hello， 大家好，我是苏瑞，很高兴跟大家见面了。今天呢是我们新的一期 Vivian Speaking， 今天的主题是呢，以爱之名启迪心灵。大家听见这个主题，是不是都对我们今天的话题产生了浓烈的兴趣呢？没错，我们今天呢就是关于慈善的一些话题。今天呢，以汪女士呢会带领我们来分享一下她的青海慈善之旅，也会跟我们分享一下她在天津发生的一些有趣的故事。接下来呢，我们就跟随Vivian还有以汪的脚步，来开启我们今天的旅程吧。
Thank you, Suri, and welcome back to the topic again. And so today we're gonna talk about love. And Yvonne and her team went to Qinghai for her charity project in 2017. Right?
That's it.
And how about let's look at some photo to say what they've been through in 2017 Qinghai. Let's have a look. Okay, this is the place you went, right?
We did. There was a group of 5 of us from TIDA who went to Qinghai, and we were fortunate to visit quite a few of the schools that we have supported over the last year or so.
Okay, and that's the house is rebuilt.
Yes, because the earthquake a few years ago destroyed a lot of the schools and the housing that were there. So this building that you see is one of the schools that has been rebuilt, and it's just in the process of. So they haven't finished yet.
Oh, haven't finished. So how many students there?
I think the schools that we went to had around about 70 to maybe 90 students there, and they were all from families in the mountains. So mum and dad would have been horse herders. The children have probably not had the opportunity to be at school together, so this is a great opportunity for them.
All right, I see. So let's move to the next picture. Wow, this is a kitchen made by mud, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah, it's it seems to me it's like back to 1980s in the country of China.
Or a camping trip, yes.
Yeah. Yes, but I can say it even though it's it's very old, but you can say the staff must do a very great job. It's very clear.
Yeah, we met the lady who was the cook here, and she really does a great job. So even though the facilities are, they're very aged, very dated, she does a fabulous job of providing meals for the children and keeping it clean.
Oh, I cannot imagine, for this little kitchen to cook for 70 students there, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's the story that we saw over and over again, is people doing an extraordinary amount of labor of love, for these children in an environment that has been through so much difficulty.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you taste the food there?
No, we didn't get to have lunch there.
Ah, you didn't get a chance.
We were busy doing other things, as you'll see very soon from the other slides.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so let's move to another one. Wow, what's this?
This is the new shower building. So it's been donated by some local people. And the idea of this is that, again, these children who have grown up in the mountains, they haven't grown up in houses, and they haven't grown up in houses with plumbing, so they're not used to showers at all. So this building is there so that they can learn how to have showers.
They need to learn.
Yep, they're going to teach them
That
how
might
to...
be their first time to take a shower.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's
So,
wow, you know, being the students, I mean, being the kids who live in the cities, cannot believe that, right?
Yeah, it's difficult to understand, isn't it? But when you go there and you see what the environment's like, it is absolutely beautiful, but it is incredibly remote. And so families who live a few hours out of the cities or out of the villages,
Okay.
They really don't have the same sort of resources we do.
Okay, I see. So what you guys doing there is to do a kind of a charity project. I was being told that it's kind of a bookshelf project. Is that right?
It's a library project.
Oh, library.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's not just a bookshelf.
It's not just a bookshelf
Okay.
project, although the bookshelves might have been the hardest part of it.
Yeah.
So the library project was birthed out of the need for schools to have more resources and more books for the children to read and to look at. So the children at my school and lots of other friends in the community have raised funds to provide libraries in schools in Qinghai.
Okay, I see. So please move to the next photo. Okay, so this is the resources that you guys delivered to Qinghai.
Yeah. And in this photo, you can see the principal of the school. And
That guy?
Yep, the
in
guy on the right.
Suit, right?
Yep, the guy in the blue jacket. And the lady there is his wife. And so on this particular day, they had collected all of the shipment of books that we had purchased for them. And we were going to follow them in our cars and deliver them to the school. So it was a really exciting time for us to be there.
Oh, so besides the books, what else in the cars? I was just wondering.
There were also flat packs of bookshelves, and I love building and I love working with wood, but I am not an expert with flat packs. So it was a community effort. Teachers from the school there, the folk that had gone on the trip with us, and then later on some of the children, we all got together and put together the bookshelves.
Okay.
So not only did they get the books, they got the bookshelves.
Yeah, I think we got some photos about the bookshelf.
We do.
Yeah, let's have a look.
So here you can see we're hard at work. I think there was a little bit that had to be redone along the way, but it was just a lovely experience. The sky was as blue as can be, and it was absolutely delightful being there.
Yeah,
just
no
working
pollution,
with them.
right? Okay.
Yeah, the effect of the high altitude slowed us down a little bit. It was great. So then at recess break, when the children came out, quite a few of the children came over to help us as well. So I think the excitement for the children is just wonderful. At our school, we teach the children to love reading. And I know that the teachers at this school in Qinghai are very dedicated as well, and they were very excited to be receiving books.
Yeah.
And to do the same, you know, teach children to love reading, because that's such an opportunity for them then.
Okay, and so what kind of feelings after they finish the bookshelf with you guys together, and after the bookshelves are filled with books, right? Did you see their face after that?
Yes, we did, and we were really fortunate to be sent photos later. And
later.
I think we're going to see a couple of those as well.
Okay, okay. So what about next one? Sorry? Yeah.
So
Wow.
here you see the children helping to carry the books into one of the storerooms where they helped to open them up and had a look at the books that were provided there. So
Wow, it's kind of a heavy box, right? It's full of the books. Okay, so next one. Oh, this is original bookshelf.
That's right. So some of the classrooms had a bookshelf like this, and that would be the books that they had. And those books are actually more like textbooks, whereas the ones that we provided are a combination of textbooks plus just books,
Picture books,
storybooks,
picture books, yes.
books about the culture, you know, books about the country,
About the
books
story.
about the people.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's lovely to broaden that, and provide for it.
So it's how nice. To be honest, that being Chinese, I'm very, very appreciate what you guys did for this Qinghai students. So how come this kind of a charity project comes?
In Taida, we are very blessed to be able to work with an organisation called the Teta Charity Association.
Okay.
And they have a wide range of services that they provide and charities that they support. So they've had friends in Qinghai that they've worked with for years now. And it was the Charity Association plus their friends in Qinghai who hosted us on this trip. And we were very happy to work closely with them and find out exactly what they needed. Because sometimes we might want to help people,
Yes.
but we might just have our own ideas. So I think the thing about this was to find out from the schools in Qinghai what they needed.
Okay, so what they tell you?
So books for one, and bookshelves, obviously really important.
Okay.
But the other thing that we did when we knew we would go to Qinghai, we wanted to take a special gift with us.
So what is
from
that?
our children to their children.
Okay.
And so that started as a crayon project.
Ah, that's a crayon project.
That's right.
So yeah, how about we move to the next photo? Oh, see, that's the books, right?
Yep, that's still the books, and you can see those two little children there just looking at this strange foreigner.
Yes.
What on earth is she doing?
Yeah.
So
Next one.
yeah, and there's the
Okay.
books in the bookshelves.
That's it.
In this particular school, the principal had a little bit of space just outside his office, so there wasn't a room for the library.
Okay.
They just created the library in this little foyer area, and the children would use that as their reading space and their library space.
Yes.
It was
So-
wonderful support from the principal and the teachers, so you can see the children there enjoying reading some of the books.
Okay, so next one. Still the books they were reading.
Yeah, so
Okay,
you can
so-
see the pictures there.
Ah, I see. So is that the picture that you took?
Oh, we were all taking photographs, Vivian. There were just so many moments we wanted to capture, so yeah, everybody had their cameras going, that's for sure.
So next one. Next one.
So here you can see the children showing. So this was a few days after we left. And they'd finally got the library organised and all the books in the bookshelves, and they wanted to show us a photograph that was saying thank you. So
Wow.
this was our thank you photograph from them.
So that's all the books, right?
Well, yeah, they're all unpacked and they're all in use.
They must miss you guys so much, right? So they want to show something.
Yeah. It's certainly a place that you want to go back to. You know, when you get involved with children and you're helping them with something like this,
Yeah.
constantly you're thinking, oh, wouldn't it be great to come back next year, see what else they need, see how the school has developed,
Yes.
and how the children are going. So who knows, you know, maybe one day in the future we'll get to go back for another
Yeah.
visit.
So that is happens last year, 2017.
That was in
So what about
June.
this? What about this year? So are you going to plan another trip to Qinghai?
I won't be going this June. So no, there's no definite plan in place at the
Okay.
moment, but
All right.
I know there are other people from our school community who would love the opportunity to go up, so maybe next year we might be able to plan something like that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think the next photo, this photo is talked about as a crayon project, right? Everybody just hand a yellow box, right? That's the
That's right.
crayon.
That's
right?
the boxes of crayons.
Okay.
So what we did at our school was we asked each of the children to donate, say, 30 renminbi, which is enough to buy a nice box of crayons. And of course, they were very happy to do that. But the project took on a life of its own.
Yes.
Within 24 hours of deciding what our goal would be, we just had donations coming in from all over the community. So friends of the staff, friends of friends, friends of the children, friends of families. So
the final amount,
the final amount. Well, I guess the final amount was close to 3 times what our target was.
Wow.
So that certainly enabled us to buy, nice boxes, lots of crayons in them for every child.
Yes.
Plus a whole lot of extra ones. And then we came up with the idea of not only providing crayons, but we would provide chalk as well.
Yes.
So that's a great idea. So it's large pieces of outdoor chalk. And the children can draw with it outside, and that's a load of fun to do.
Okay.
So.
What I was being impressed by the idea of the TIDA, I mean, you do not just be charity project, right? And you want the kids to help kids to get the connection between these 2 schools. But to be honest, it's a long distance barrier from these 2 cities, Qinghai and Tianjin, so it's a long distance.
Yeah.
So how can you conquer this barrier and do this kind of connection between these 2 school students?
Our school has a long history of believing in serving and believing in helping, and it's one of our core values that we and my philosophy is that no child is too young to be able to help someone.
Okay, everyone, right? Can
That's
be
right.
very supportive.
Everyone can help. So the challenge for us is to find a project that the young children identify with. So if we're going to say, okay, you're a 5-year-old, you're in kindergarten, but we're going to help other children, we're going to buy them crayons and chalk. They understand that because they know what crayon and chalk are.
Yep.
They love to use them themselves.
Yep.
They have a lot of fun with them. So I think sometimes when we're developing these core values in children, it's about finding the context, finding the way that we make it real to them, and then they can really engage in the process.
Yes.
So I think that's been a very successful part of what we do, and I speak for the primary section of the school, but its secondary section continue that and do lots of service also.
Yes.
So it is part of our school philosophy, and it's hugely rewarding.
And you received lots of good photos about their crayon job, right,
We
on the
did,
ground.
yes,
So
yes.
let's move to the next photo to see what is what happened. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice drawing picture, right?
Yeah, this area that they're drawing on is a huge concrete slab that has been put there as an assembly point or a place to play games. It needs lots of development, but it's there. So the
Okay.
children went out with their chalks, and there were many, many photographs of chalk drawings. There were superheroes,
Wow.
and there were animals, and there were shapes, and they obviously had a wonderful time doing that. So it was lovely
Okay.
to receive some photos.
Yeah, so how about the next one? Let's see, this is another good photos about kids were drawing the photo,
Yeah.
well, drawing the picture. It must be his dad, right?
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and in blue pants. That's very cute.
And isn't it interesting to think that these children may not have ever used chalk to do a drawing before?
Wow.
Okay? And if they were home with their parents in the mountains, maybe they didn't have anything to draw on in the same way that they would be
Yeah.
able to do here.
Maybe they
so-
use a stick to draw.
That's right.
Right.
Or some charcoal or coal on rocks or something like that. So simple things, I think,
Yeah.
have great value.
Okay, so let's have a little break and let's move to Surrey and to see what audience talk about right now.
相信在刚才的谈话中，大家都有很多的感触吧。其实呢，遗忘女士呢，从她这是她第2次来到青海，就是在去年的时候去了一个青海做了一次慈善活动。在这次的慈善活动中呢，她向我们就是从他们住的一个房屋介绍起，就是在一 一个重建的房屋里，我们也能看到当时的环境是，确实是不是特别好。然后呢，这些孩子们也是都是从山里来的一些70名到90名孩子，他们也是都是非常渴望学习的。然后呢，以望女士他们呢也是给他们提供了一些图书，也给他们做了一些崭新的书架。当我们看到孩子们和老师们一起做书架的时候，确实是非常开心的。这些书呢也包括了一些图画书，还有一些故事书，孩子们也是看得非常津津有味。在刚才我们的图片中，大家也能看到，就是从这个图片中就能感受到他们就是特别的开心。同时呢，以望女士不仅仅是想把这次慈善活动仅仅是作为一次慈善来进行，她呢也是想通过这个活动呢，将泰达学校和青海学校2个学校联合起来，然后创造一种让孩子帮助孩子这么的一种主题。所以我们的蜡笔计划呢就这么诞生了。在我们照片中也可以看到，我们的青海的孩子呢接收到蜡笔的时候是特别的开心，就立刻迫不及待的就在地上做起画来。我们就是通过这个照片和通过屏幕都能感受到他们满满的这种幸福感。然后呢，但是虽然他们就是属于这么一种贫困的境况下吧，但是他们也是非常渴望学习的。这种欣欣向荣的这种精神是我们无法磨灭的。接下来呢，给大家看一段视频，就能感受到他们在就是生活中的这种精神头。有很多网友注意到我们今天来到了新的演播室，确实非常细心啊。然后也有说我们的主持人还有我们的嘉宾气场都特别的强大。然后同时呢，有我们一位网友提出了问题，他想问一下Yvonne老师，在这次青海的慈善行中最大的感触是什么呢
？Welcome back to the topic, and thanks for the question. And there's one of the audience I want to know that what impressed you most about this Qinghai charity thing?
I think the thing that impresses me the most is the dedication of the people involved. So right from the people in Taida who support that, to the Tibetan monks who are very active in supporting small communities that might not be large enough for a school, so they're working to help provide for them, through to the teachers. We met a young man there who'd grown up through one of those schools and gone away to Teachers College and become a teacher, and then come back to serve in the community. So there's a very strong love, you know, for the children and for the work that's happening there.
OK， 那我这边做个简短的翻译。Yvonne呢觉得就是对他在这次整个青海的之行中呢，他觉得对他印象最深的还是大家各种的投入，比如说对于泰达国际学校的孩子们的就是投入，还有包括就是泰达这边慈善机构的一个协助，那么包括就是在青海这边很多一些怎么说呢？是和尚吗？各方面的一些的，就是参与和帮助以及在当地学校里成长，最后呢长大，并且就是参与到学校的教职方面的就是学生这样的一个教职工的一些参与。所以说，最让他感触的还是爱OK， so how about let's move to the next part?
Okay.
And I know this is not your first time to be in Qinghai, right? So
no.
Yeah. So what about the first time? Were you going alone?
The first time was an adventure.
Okay.
And at the time, I didn't know about any of this charity work in Qinghai, but my daughter was living in China with me at the time, and We are from Australia. We have a love of remote places in the outback, and when we were thinking about where we wanted to travel to next, Qinghai was really one of our top choices. So you can see my daughter there having a cuddle with one of the local babies.
Okay, so that is your daughter
On the left, yes.
on the
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
So how old was she at that time back then?
She would have been about 16,
16.
yeah, around 16 or
Okay,
17
okay.
when we went there.
Yeah. So that's Tibet kids, that right on the photo?
That was in, well, I guess they are. A lot of the people in Qinghai are Tibetan origin. So what we'd done is we had travelled to Xining, and then we met some fellow travellers. And I've always had a fascination with the Yellow River. It's just an amazing piece of the geography of China. Goes through so many changes, covers so much distance. And so when we decided to go to Qinghai, I was thinking, I'd like to find the source of the Yellow River. So
it must be an adventure for you and your girl, right?
it was. So we found a bus that would take us further up into the mountains. So that was about a 10-hour bus drive. And then we stopped at this little village called Madoi, where we'd been led to believe that there were plenty of places that we could stay, but that wasn't actually the case. So when we got there, it took us quite a while, and then we found one gentleman who had one room that he could rent to us for 3 nights. And so the two travellers we were with, plus my daughter and myself, were squished in this one little room that had 2 bunks, but one of the bunks was full of timber.
Timber.
Yeah, wood.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
that he didn't want to leave outside.
Okay.
So that meant even though there were 2 lots of bunks in the room, there were really only 3 beds, and there were 4 people.
Wow. So
So my daughter and I ended up sort of top to tail sharing a bed,
Okay.
a narrow little bed for 3 nights, and there were no bathrooms. We had to go down the street for the bathrooms. It was quite primitive, really. But it was a place of great adventure for us.
Definitely. You seem to enjoy it very much.
We do. So the next day, we found someone who would take us further up into the mountains, another 3 hours up in the mountains. And we found what is ostensibly the source of the Yellow River. So we took photos of that as well. And it was all very exciting. Oh, there I am in the photo. So that's the highest altitude I've ever been to.
That's the highest, right?
Yeah, I think that says 4,630 meters above sea level.
Yes.
It was cold, but the water was blue, the sky was blue. The animals that we saw were magnificent. So there were yaks and little rodents in the ground and giant eagles. It was such a memorable occasion.
So does the first trip has any connection with the second one?
Only in the sense that I have a love for mountains, for deserts, for remote places. So when we heard of the need in Qinghai, it was very, very easy to just say, yes, let's do that.
Okay. All right. So I think that this is the second part. Oh, wow. That's your daughter as well, right? And with Qinghai kids there.
Some of the local boys there. Yeah.
Okay. So about the next one?
Yeah, they were very happy to watch us. They came into the restaurant and sat and watched us eat. They followed us. It was very charming.
Yeah, it's very charming, right? And Yvonne, and I know that you've been Tianjin for how many years? 14 years?
I came to Tianjin City in 2004, but I moved to Taida in 2005.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you definitely experience how Tita has changed for so many years, right?
Yes.
So what impressed you most during these years?
When we first got to Tita, it was the landscape was quite sparse, really. So we lived about 3 kilometres away from the school, and we would ride our bikes, and we'd ride our bikes through grassland.
Okay.
And now, if you were to go that same route in Taida, then there's residential areas, there's a huge tower going up, there's shopping centres. There is no empty space there.
No.
The government has done a fabulous job of building ahead for the future. You know, so obviously there is a long-term plan for Taida, and the infrastructure, schools, roads, hospitals,
Yes.
libraries, theatres, shopping centres, those sorts of things. It's a really convenient and easy place to live. Also, you get to ride your bike everywhere.
Yes.
And I love riding my bike, so
Yes.
it's just a great place, I think, for families and for foreigners.
Yeah,
to
it's
live.
so Taida and Tianjin changed dramatically for this 14 years. So let's have a look at some photos, and Yvonne provide us to say how big change for the Tianjin and for Taida. So this is a very interesting one. You know, that's the street food there, right? But
It
it's
is,
hard to
yeah.
find it right now.
And that was in Hershey district, just off
Hershey?
Bin Shui Dao. And so that was a little street market there. And
滨水道 right now is I think it's a main street, right?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's very modern and totally different.
Yeah, totally.
To what was there. We used to go into a little cafe on the corner to buy dinner, and I used to buy chicken and rice for 10 renminbi. That was dinner.
Okay, so let's move on. Wow, so that's kind of a classroom. Is that classroom?
That was actually a visit that we went to the Chinese opera, to the Peking Opera.
Oh, Peking Opera.
Yeah, and so later on, after the show, we went backstage and we got to meet some of the performers that were in the production, and one of them has sort of put that beautiful creation of a hat on my daughter's head. So.
Yeah, next. What's the last bicycle? It's gonna be more than 10 years, I think so.
Yeah, that's more than 10 years. That's in 2004. When we arrived in China first, I had a job at a Chinese school. So the first day that we got there, we were taken to our residence, which was in the boarding school, and we were given bicycles. And we were they just said to us, here's your transportation. This is how you'll ride to school.
Yes.
So this was a totally foreign experience for both my daughter and myself. Very quickly we learned that there are some rules. One is you don't go faster than anyone else. You go the same direction as anyone else. And if you want to change direction, you do it very slowly. So we had a great year just learning this bicycle culture in Tianjin and riding around. So that's just a photo near the main area of the city of lots of bicycles.
Yeah, it must be amazing for you to see so many people to ride bicycle at the same time, right? And are you scared, to ride, the bicycle with other people, so many people? For us, it's normal. But in Australia, back then, I don't think lots of people ride bicycle.
There's a big difference. One is here, back then, everybody rode bicycles fairly slowly and at the same pace. If you ride a bicycle in Australia, you ride fast.
Oh, they do it for the sports, right?
Well, they do, but the distances in our cities are much greater also.
Okay.
And so people, if they're riding to work, they might be riding 10 kilometres. So they will ride fast to get there. And there's not so many bicycles, so you can ride fast. So yes, it was scary for me. It was also scary for my parents, and my father had been a racing cyclist when he was a young man.
Okay.
But the worst thing of all was watching my daughter riding a bike in the city. That was terribly nerve-wracking. as a parent, you worry about your child way
Yes.
more than you need to, probably. But in time, I just learned, I had to trust her and leave her be. So we both managed fine.
Right? Manage
Yeah.
it quickly as
Well,
you can.
We had to.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had to become confident in riding very quickly, so that's how we got to school and from school, and went to do our shopping, took the groceries home. One day we bought a piano keyboard, and took that home on the back of the bike. We did
Yes.
lots of crazy things on bikes.
Yeah, so that's what happens next.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this is the lady who, if we paid her something like 2 mao, she would look after our bikes for us when we went shopping. So that was great. Got to know her. She looked after the bikes, and
yeah.
it's just part of the culture. I've had a fascination with transportation the whole time I've been here. So I have quite a collection of people doing, to them, normal things, to us as Westerners, quite unusual things. And I've got a lot of favourite photos that fall into that category.
Yeah, that's is that 八大里银河溪?
Oh, could quite well be. I don't remember exactly.
Because I can recognize the building.
The building, can you?
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
that's
very
wonderful.
typical
Yeah.
八大里 building.
Right.
It's not there anymore, right?
Probably not. So I would have taken that photograph because of the truck in front of it with the cardboard collection, the collecting boxes. I love the way that, people make use of everything here.
Yeah.
It's, if someone can make a little bit of money from something, they will do it.
Yes.
So certainly back then we saw people often doing things that to us were quite unusual.
Okay.
Standing on the outside of 6-story buildings, cleaning windows with nothing, no rope or anything around them, just sort of standing on the ledge. Constantly things that just made us wide-eyed.
Yeah.
And it's very different. It was very different for us. And
I got it always happens before the New Year's, right? You can see lots of people just standing there, right? And wipe the windows.
I don't notice it so much now, but I guess back
Okay.
then we certainly noticed it a lot.
Yeah.
Many opportunities, or many times when I was riding my bike to work, that I would just stop to take a photo, because there would be something that I would think, oh my goodness, they're doing it like that. Falling in love with the people, just the ordinary people, and their capacity to make a life out of something that at the time was quite difficult is certainly one of the reasons that we decided to stay in China. So even though we'd just come for 1 year, at the end of the year it's like, are we ready to go home? No, we're not, so we'd stay. Next year, are we ready to go home? No, we're not, so we'd stay. So obviously I've stayed a long time.
So what about right now? And we got a cell phone, and we took photo we normally take a photo with our phone, right? So do you take photos often?
I don't take photos as often. What I've noticed about myself is if I get into the photo taking zone, then I just want to take photos. So when I have the chance to travel or just be somewhere and not necessarily in a hurry, then I really enjoy taking photos, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I think is that the last photo for this part? Okay, so let's move to Suri again, and she's gonna talk about something in Chinese.
刚才的信息量对大家来说是不是有点大呢？不要着急，现在我帮大家来归纳一下。首先呢，Yvonne女士跟我们说了，她不是第一次去青海。然后呢，她也向我们介绍了一下她第一次去青海的一个过程。当时呢，她是跟她的女儿一起去的。当时呢，她的女儿还很小。那次呢，是她第一次去青海。 他接着到了青海一些很自然的景色，他觉得特别的好看，而且呢，他还爬上了海拔4610米的一个高山，他也觉得这个体验是特别有趣的。然后后来呢，他还与我们分享了他在天津的一些趣事。他呢很喜欢用自己的相机啊记录下这一切，然后我们也有幸看到了河西区以前的一些面貌，包括八大里啊以前的一个样子，然后现在崭新的八大里摆在那里，我们确实一点都看不到以前的影子。然后在Yvonne老师的印象中呢，让他觉得最有趣的就是天津的这个自行车现象。他觉得大街上就是很多自行车，然后还有很多就是停车收费的地方，那时候是2毛钱一辆。他觉得这些现象非常有意思，跟他的家乡就是澳大利亚有很多的不同点，所以他也用照片记录下了这一切。然后接下来呢，为大家回顾一下网友的这么一个评论。刚才呢，我看到咱们网友说呢，确实，当这些孩子呢，接受慈善，这些孩子们看到了外面的世界会怎么想？确实呢，也是，引发了我们的一些思考。如果我们有能力的话，确实也应该，献出自己的一份力，去做一下慈善，来帮助一下山区里的孩子们。然后，同时呢，我们还看到一些网友非常有意思啊，他表明了就是看到我们的节目之后，已经立志明天就开始报名去学英语班了。接下来呢，不知道我们的嘉宾还会谈到什么有趣的话题，那么我们把时间交还给Vivian。
Okay, welcome back to the topic and thanks for story. Yvonne, because you used to be a teacher.
That's right, yes.
And so I got a question, because a lot of audience were watching our live show, they want to improve their English. And so being a teacher, if you are, to give them a suggestion or to teach them a phrase, what is it going to be?
The first thing that I would teach anybody is how to do greetings, because the amazing thing about language is that we use it to connect to other people, right? So if we teach people language to connect to each other, then that inspires them to learn more. And I haven't been a terribly good student of Chinese, I will admit that. But I still have great conversations with taxi drivers, for example.
Oh wow, what kind of a great conversation.
You'd wonder, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So what happens is I would get in the car and say that I want to go to such and such a place. And because I've said it so many times, it probably sounds like I'm saying it quite well. So the taxi driver then thinks that I can speak Chinese really well. So he will respond with some conversation. So out of the conversation he responds with, I might recognize 3 or 4 words.
Okay.
So I know how to answer in my brief vocabulary of Chinese. So he might say, what country are you from? Right? So I will say, Australia, I'm from Australia. And so then, the question is, like, how many years have you been here? So by picking up these words, the thing is, by the end of the taxi drive, he feels good. He's been able to talk to a foreigner. I feel good. I've been able to use my small amount of Chinese to connect. So I think it's exactly the same.
Okay, again.
And it's also the same whether it's a young child you're teaching or whether it's an adult. We use language to connect. So that's the best way to do it.
So, that's a phrase would be where you come from.
Yeah, where do you come from? And that would be totally fine.
And how about the family question? Is that proper?
Yeah, family questions are fine.
How many kids do you have?
Yeah, that's right.
That would be great, right?
Sometimes I've been asked questions that have been a little surprising, like, are you married? How old are you?
That's a little bit rude, right?
Will you
for
marry
the first
me?
time to to ask this question.
Well, from a Western perspective, if you ask that in my country, yes, you might think it's a little rude. But, I'm a guest here in your country. And as foreigners, if we remember that we are guests here and understand that the questions come out of a great interest about foreigners or about me, I just don't think I don't take it as insulting at all. I just answer it, and if I don't want to answer it, then I just smile and I don't answer, you know.
Okay.
But I certainly don't, I don't think it's necessary to think it's rude. You know.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. You know, for the phrase that Yvonne wants.
You know, I'm a guest here in your country, and as foreigners, if we remember that we are guests here, and understand that the questions come out of a great interest about foreigners or about me, you know.
Yeah.
I just don't think I don't take it as insulting at all. I just answer it, and if I don't want to answer it, then I just smile and I don't answer, you know.
Okay.
But I certainly don't, I don't think it's necessary to think it's rude. You know.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. You know, for the phrase that Yvonne want to teach you guys is anything can be connected with other people, right? Such like where you come from and how many kids do family has, right?
Yeah.
Or such like things like
And
that.
something like, where is your hometown? Because I'm very interested in finding that out about my Chinese friends.
Okay.
So-
where's their hometown?
Yeah,
Okay.
so where's
yes.
your hometown? So those sorts of questions, you know, what's your favorite holiday? To find out about the culture, because many of our Chinese friends value their holidays very
Yes.
highly because
Okay.
it's a time to spend with family.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of really good things to talk about that can be personal as well as educational, if you will.
Okay. I think at the end of our live show, Yvonne gave us a little surprise. So do you want to know what is that? So Suri, could you just show it? Show it to the audience.
刚才呢，就是语文老师呢给我们读的小视频是一个惊喜，就是我们会用这个几分钟的视频来回顾一下开达国际学校的一个发展变迁。接下来我放给大家看。
And she is so generous, and she provides us one of her best cookie recipe. So let's have a look, please. Wow, that's the recipe, right?
It is.
Oh, so could you give us the introduction of this recipe?
Certainly. When I first went to Taida International School, I was a teacher of a grade 4 to 6 class of English language learners.
Okay.
And we were learning language in lots of different ways, and so I decided that we would learn it through cooking. So I taught my children how to bake these cookies, which are chocolate oatmeal cookies. And so when we baked them, the children took them around the different hallways in the secondary school and sold them to the secondary students. And of course, they smelt delicious. They were just out of the oven.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people saying, "Oh, I missed out and I didn't get one." So we decided we'd do it the next year. The next year we baked more cookies and people still wanted more. So after that we decided we'd take pre-orders. So in the space of about 3 or 4 years, the orders were up to 1,000 cookies. and the students did everything. They measured it all, they baked them all, they packed them all, they took the orders, they sold them all, and that was an example of how the children were involved in raising money for service. So, there's so many ways that you can get children involved. So there's my cookie recipe. That's the history for that one.
Okay, thank you. And also we got some nice photos about the cookies. Wow, it looks like it's very tasty.
They are very Moorish, we would say. You always want more.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Yvonne, and thanks for being us. And this is our today's Vivian Speaking, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Okay, so see you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Vivian.